How is it going, guys? Happy Monday. I hope the day was good. I think some of you guys did very well today. I think it was a historical day with what was going on in oil. So, yeah, what a start to a week. I started pretty decent as well. I'm just scalping. I'm not trading individual stocks much, as I told you guys. There's only one trade that I'm looking at right now, actually, and I haven't put that on the list. Actually, it is on the list. Okay, but that's like we're going to go over for later. Let's first look at the indexes. So the market is kind of failed so far to break over that 2880 kind of level. That's been like the top of this pop here. So for now, like we are trying to hold the upper celt versus that resistance area. I think we are likely to get to see another pop into at least 2855 before this decides whether it wants to actually sell off from here or whether it wants to try for the 2950, which would be our final target, and where we would start piling in short. But for now, it looks like we are starting to see the market having a bit of difficulty in this pop here, which obviously shows or indicates a bit of topping action. Looking at the other indexes, I see resistances as well. Here on the weekly in the Russell, we have tagged that low from 2018 perfectly, and are now struggling here as well. Under the Celts, it's oscillating between the moving averages here, and we'll see where it goes from here. The Nasdaq, obviously the strongest. The way I'm looking at this one is, for now, I'm just tracking the regression channel. We are right into a resistance area at the moment, which was that weekly low that we've had before the sell-off. So we'll see from here. It was also the top of like that first bounce that we had in the sell-off. So definitely like a big resistance here. I could absolutely see this Nasdaq retest the lower bound of the expected move, and as well the lower bound of that standard deviation channel, regression channel, which is this is the one standard deviation here. So we'll see whether we are going to make a next push up, or whether this has been it, and all our shorts that we've started to build are already working out without being able to pile into the big one, which would be fine. I would rather just have my shorts work out, my long bonds as well. Let's look at the Dow real quick as well. We are seeing a lot of the stuff now. We're getting really close to trend lines and stuff like that. You look at this grid that I have. I'm using a similar thing to what Corey Rosenblum uses, or I think it might actually be quite similar. And this is positive correlated stocks to the market, neutral stocks to the market, and negative correlated stocks to the market. And we are seeing kind of the same pattern everywhere. Some trend lines are being broken, like in energy. Industrial are breaking as well. But then other stuff like technology is still holding. So the positively correlated stuff, they are holding the trend lines. The negatively one, or the defensive ones, they are starting to break the trend lines, which is actually more of a bullish sign, which gives me hope that we might get another push up for the real, the big short. But we'll see how it goes. We are all, in these areas, the Fibonacci areas, where, some of them have completely surpassed them. But in general, I think financials weak, that's a bad sign. Just in general, it starts to feel like we're losing steam, running out of steam. And so to me, that's a sign to start shorting, small, If you guys don't have the accounts, then wait for the proper signals. But if you have like a bit of an account, I think it's prudent to start sizing in, just small, but start like putting in a few shorts. Now golds that I've been trading quite extensively recently. I had put like an initial long here when we started when we hit the upper Celt. Now I've added a bit more into the 14 MA, which is also like that resistance areas from all these tops before we broke it. So see if we actually hit that 1800. Still, this is not a large position because we are still you look at the monthly, and this is still overextended. The weekly is kind of riding the upper Celt here, but I am not trading this big at this point. Like down here was the opportunity to go big, which is what I did, and now like I'm just trading around the core that I have a little bit more. So basically, like looking at the monthly, what this is gonna need is like a multi-year handle here. Like we look at how do where is this one? So basically we would probably want like a cup, like this is like could be the perfect multi-year cup and handle for the break into freaking 2400. So let's say we get like a 3-year handle here into the 2023, then in 2024 we would probably be like somewhere 2400, 2500. That would be interesting. Whether that's going to happen or not is obviously no one's going to know, but just from a pattern point of view, that would be a beautiful pattern. Bonds, that's my largest position at the moment, and the way I'm looking at it is here on the daily we've broken that initial like the steep trend line here. I'm not a big fan of this because of that wick. I'm just writing it in, and today I've said that before, I like this flat one much better, and today we closed over that. So bonds, like as I told you guys, I have put on more down here, more long down here, and I'm looking for that breakout. So let's see how this goes. But I think this is like the way bonds hold up here, that's a good indicator for a short SPY position as well, or just short market. In terms of expected move, oh man, I'm gonna run long. I have to go through the individual stocks a bit faster. We are it's basically exactly what I wanted, what I mentioned last week. Like we are having that expected range a little bit higher here. We could perhaps pop into the 200, which would coincide kind of, man, look, the upper bound of the expected move is 2970, so it would coincide quite nicely with what we wanted to see, the 2950 kind of area for a short there. So into the upper bound here, and then sell off from there. If you guys want a long, then into that move, as Addicted mentioned, it might be interesting to look at this at the SPX and not at the ES, because the ES is under the upper Celt, closed under the upper Celt here, but the SPX, because that chart doesn't use the overnights. If we get like a drop into the upper Celt tomorrow, say 2810, something like that, that might be a nice opportunity to take the long, which would also be close enough to that trend line as he outlined, and take the long into the into the upper bound of the expected move, and from there take the short for 2200. So yeah, that's that for indices. Let's look at individual stocks. I'm gonna have to go through this fast. We're already 10 minutes in. Home Depot. I like how this popped up and now has failed with this decent what's it called? It's like this candle has a name, gravestone or something like that. just looking at how it tries to get over, fails under, tries to get over, fails under. This is running out of steam. We look at the trend line probably from here. We are testing it hard. So if in the next few days we start, you know, like doing something here, that might be a nice entry for a short. Twitter, we are kind of in this channel. We've retraced a little bit. This would work well with the market, giving another push. Break of that trend line, long for the top of the channel. I really like the way this channel is working out. We're at the 14 MA. We've been riding that 30 and we've been holding it so far. So perhaps tomorrow that might be a nice long for a multi-day swing. Roku. We are at the top of the regression channel here now, and it's completely overextended. And this, you know, like as Nikki pointed out on the stream today, you know, like they might all have, you know, like higher customer numbers and subscription numbers right now because of the lockdown, but when the overall economy is bad, these are going to suffer as well. So I think this is a nice short opportunity here. Perhaps wait another day into what's that, 137. If we get there, 137, definitely a nice point to short. From there, Twilio, another completely overextended. This one I really want to short, and I'm trying to be patient, but and I think I've pointed it out before. I think today might have been an opportunity into the 200, but perhaps wait for the break of that regression channel, and then take a short. You know, that might be enough time for the market to have its push, and then take the short with the market. Shopify, this one, I mean, I have put out orders for tomorrow for the open. If we open somewhere the 650 or 640 kind of in this area where we've closed, I'm gonna get short, because this is like a parabolic chart if I've ever seen one. I mean, obviously you guys have seen them so many times now, and what I'm really liking is what's indicating like a end of the para is increased volume, more increased volume, and the range gets wider. So like it really gets extreme, and we are so far away now from the Celts. We are completely extended. Even if this pops up and another move tomorrow into, I don't know, the 670 or something like that, or perhaps you know, like what would be perfect tomorrow is like a push into 680 and then a close at 650, something like that. That would be perfect. I'm gonna, like, when I'm done with this, I'm gonna put out more orders for that would get hit if we get up there. Yeah, because this, I am thinking at least a retracement back into 580 or something like that, perhaps even a retest of that 550 kind of area. But yeah, like beautiful parabolic. Anyway, Amazon. This one is showing a bit of topping action. I would be careful. I think the short was from Thursday to Friday. That what I mentioned. As I said, guys, these you need to take profits quickly. But I think this might offer another opportunity here. Perhaps it wants to chop around here, make another push up with the market, and then before earnings sell off, especially when the market starts coming off as well. At least into the upper Celt would be a nice short opportunity here for Amazon. McDonald's into previous support, which is now resistance. So perhaps this one as well, another push, 190 kind of area for the low of this area here. Let's look at the weekly. Like that low was actually 180. What is it? what do we have here? 187.55. That's the low here. So perhaps that could be, you know, like an interesting point to start shorting this one as well. Just looking, you know, like we see the same pattern. That's why I'm not trading too many individual stocks, because it's the same thing going on, because everything's correlated when the market's going crazy. But we are breaking this trend line here. So perhaps even, you know, like it not being able to hold the upper Celt here, maybe that was already enough. So definitely like a short idea in the next coming days and weeks. $3. This one is doing a similar thing like many others. You know, it's retracing into previous resistance area. So perhaps this one wants to go get into the upper Celt, which would, you know, coincide with like some resistance here, and we would also get close to, you know, like previous resistances from here. So definitely an interesting idea there as well. Alta, same thing, you know, coming into big resistance from like where we've bottomed many times. Here was resistance, popped over, turn, you know, it's been an inflection point all the time. So I think this could be a nice multi-day short even. You know, like put like a few lots on. I mean, don't go crazy, but like to always manage your position size. But in here, like have 3 lots, cover a few into the trend line, then write the rest one, or the last one at least until the low, or even further depending on what the market's doing. Johnson & Johnson. I mean, if this pushes into 154.50 here, that would be the perfect short from here in the next few days. Like short the double top and short it back into the upper Celt, short it back into, I don't know, the 200 or whichever target you want to give it. But again, like a beautiful kind of, you know, like just a straight up move that is just going to need a retracement eventually, and we're getting close to that trend line. So say like we pop into the 154.50, then we start closing under, and that's where you can short. Like if you want to take the aggressive entry, take the short at the level. If you want to wait for the trend line break. Wayfair, let me see. Oh yeah, that's another one. Actually, this could actually be a long idea on a like a bigger picture perspective. When you look at the monthly and the weekly chart, you've had this, I mean, you know, it's been a wide channel, but this regression channel has been broken quite definitively now. So this one, if the market, you know, like just in case the market wants to keep going, doesn't want to sell off, this one would be a nice long, like wait for a retrace into the 14 or the 20, long it from there. Like right here, it's probably a short idea, but for if you want to long this eventually, wait for a retrace where you can long that. Shake Shack. That's that might be another long idea. Just the way we've curled here over that 14, we have a 14 MA crossover. That's why where this one popped up. The 14 MA crossing over the 30 scan that I have. So if we open up over the upper Celt here, could be a nice push into fill this gap here into 52.50. XRT, another one. I mean, you know, it's with an ETF like this, it's going to be interesting to see, but it could be interesting because we are holding over this upper Celt here. And despite everything, you know, like that might be a decent signal for that this wants to hold. It wants at least to close this gap perhaps in the next few days / weeks if the market, you know, like wants to recover. And we have like a little bit to go until we run into like big resistance here as well. The big resistance would be, you know, like the 37.50 kind of area. So that would actually coincide with this gap close here. Last one, workday, top of the range. This is an interesting one as well. One, we're at the top of the channel, but we've also closed over the upper Celt. So if you want to trade, like if you're looking for a long, if you're bullish, then this might be a good entry to, or a good interesting thing to watch for a open over the upper kilt, retrace into the upper kilt and along there. But on the other hand, if you want to start putting on shorts, this might actually offer itself also for a short with the top of the trend line or of the channel. So I personally am short biased in general, so I am likely, if I would trade this, I would probably trade this more as a short idea, at least into the 140, and then you can still see if it wants to curl here and head higher. Alright guys, 20 minutes. That's it from me. If you liked the video, please like the video. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'm almost done with the beginner option series, so that's going to come soon. If you have any questions, please comment on the video or hit me up in Discord. I'm available overnight, and let's smash it this week. I think it's going to be a good one. Take care guys.